Hi, this is my Pokedex that I built using MongoDB, Express, React, and Node.js. The first minute or so will be a quick tour of all the features that are in place for this Pokedex. So when you first go to this website, you'll see that you'll be redirected to this login page. So let's say you don't have an account already. We can sign up for an account here. So there's some basic input validation for this form. So we just type in C as your email. It'll say email is not valid. We can't submit it without filling out all the fields either. So let's type in an email that is valid. So we can type that, put in a password, and sign up. So once we've done that, we're redirected to the login page where we have to type the same thing in again. And so we sign in, and now we can see the Pokedex. So now that we're here, we can see that there's a lot of information about each of the Pokemon, and that if we scroll down, it just renders more Pokemon and their information. If we want to see more details, we can click on any of them. We can click on the Learn More button as well. They do the same thing. And we can see like, hey, the types are grass and poison. And so it's very useful for finding this kind of information. The other thing is if you want to filter out any Pokemon in particular, you can type it in the box up above. So you can see Blastoise has a base experience of 239. Also do Venusaur. You can pretty much do any Pokemon that you want. There's also the favorites feature. So if you want to just favorite your Pokemon, so you can click this, and if you refresh, you'll see that it's still saved. So it saves between sessions as well as logout. And if we want to, we can always log out and test it. We'll do that a bit more in the technical side of things, on the technical part. So I guess now that I've shown you all the features, we can take a look at the technical implementation. So one thing you might notice is that once you go to home, if you try to go to login, this always redirects, and it's the same thing if you log out and try to go to home. So this is done on the client side. This uses React Router DOM, which figures out what page you're in and then redirects you specifically to what page you're allowed access to. As far as authentication goes, so every time a user signs up, it creates this user object where the password is stored with a hash and a salt. So even if it gets leaked somehow on the front end, it's still very secure, and they would need access to the server in order to be able to crack it. And so with each user object, the user can log in, and once they log in, there's this session object that's being generated. So right now we're using Passport, which stores an ID within this Passport object, as well as a user object. And once we log in, we can see the difference. So if we do this and log in, we can see that the user has been stored in our session. And so with sessions, you can see that even if you refresh, we still have access to the website. So I did log into a different account, which is why we don't see our favorites, but it's still saved across sessions and between accounts. The other thing is with the way these components are rendered, like how they get their information. So each one actually makes 3 API calls. 2 go to the Poke API and 1 go to the Pokemon website. So these images you see here, they're from the Pokemon website directly, whereas the description is 1 Poke API call, and the stats for each Pokemon is another API call. Every time we mark a Pokemon as favorite or not favorite, it also makes an API call to the backend. And so this is actually memcache, so it gets saved in memory before being offloaded to the database at some point. So this way it can scale up better and handle a lot more favorites at the same time. The other thing is the infinite scroll. This just detects if the browser is at the bottom and then makes API calls to render these components. You might have also noticed that the performance is surprisingly good, even when rendering hundreds of Pokemon. The reason for that is that all the ones that have been rendered get memorized. So only the new Pokemon get rendered at any given time. All of these don't update as the data doesn't change. As far as the filter goes, there's also a deferred API call. So rather than just making an API call every time you type a letter, it does it at the end. So if we just type in Ivysaur, you can see how the performance is still really good, even for like close to 200 card components. As far as the logout goes, this also makes a post request to the backend, and that coordinates with Passport and sets it so that the Passport ID is set to null, and so that way the user can't authenticate on the front end. yeah, that's my Pokédex. I hope you liked it. I hope you can try it out. And I hope you had fun. Thank you.